On BBC Local Radio in Shropshire, South Cheshire, North Staffordshire, the West Midlands, Worcestershire and Herefordshire. You're listening to The Gruesome Twosome. Mike Adams and Chris Savoury on the show that values your vinyls. It's The Record Collectors between now and 9 tonight.
Our special guest tonight, all the way from Bonnie, Scotland, is Big George. Welcome to The Record Collectors, George.
Good evening, Mike.
And let me just tell you, this album, which is called Big George and the Business, the track I played you was This Breed of Mine. And if you have any problems in getting this album, then you just put your finger in the dial and dial 0606 44097. That is 0606 44097. And I tell you, a friend of mine called Chris will make sure it's off to you faster. You can say, rockin' horse manure. Tell me a bit about yourself, George, your background and how you got into music.
Well, what actually happened, mate, I believe, was that when I was at school, I was around the age of 13. I had a friend who lived across the road, and his brother was a Hendrix freak, and he liked Rory Gallagher and people like that. So I spent a lot of time drinking coffee up there and just taking in this experience, because, like, before that, I thought I was going to be a football player, to tell you the truth, right? And I started hearing this stuff, and although I think it must have been going in subliminally, I started playing guitar at the age of 14, and that's when my father told me, well, he thought he was a singer, you see, with the big bands in Glasgow in the 40s, and he used to do the Glenn Miller sort of thing, and he'd be the singer, and he said to me, well, are you going to sing? Are you just going to play guitar? I said, well, I don't know if I can sing. He said, well, if you don't learn to sing, you'll have trouble with singers all your days. So I thought, okay, so that was my humble beginnings in Glasgow.
Yeah, so speaks the voice of experience. I mean, do you think, and this is a contentious question, but do you think you really have to live life a little bit before? You're sort of like a gentleman in sort of how company, perhaps 25 plus, but still with the bloom of youth just there. But you have to live life a bit to be able to sing the blues.
Absolutely. Although I think, in terms of expression, you have to have lived life. You don't have to have lived life to have the blues, but to express it in terms of songwriting or whatever, you know, like the obviously the more mature voice will deliver it with more feel. Yeah, I think you're right there, definitely.
Where do your personal influences come from? Where do you draw from?
Well, like I said, Hendrix, Rory Gallagher originally. Later in life, like as far apart as maybe like Etta James, Ry Cooder, I take from Cajun music, African music, everything that's rootsy, really. Jerry Lee Lewis, Little Richard. I like the wildness, I like the passion of that kind of music. I think if it's got to be vital for me to get into it. That's really what it is, mate.
Do you remember any sort of kind of particular moment, like a watershed, that you decided that you are going to spend the rest of your life in the business or the art world of rock music and blues? Was there any? This is it. You're going for it.
Yeah, I honestly think it was the day I formed my first band with the guys at school. I really do. It's strange because they've all stopped now. You know, I think we were 15. It's a 14, 15, something like that. And everybody else, or at least everybody else, is part-time. I'm the only one that actually said, okay, I'm going to get up and shoot for the sun here and have a go at this, you know. But a beautiful moment to remember, I must say. I mean, it's had its ups and downs, but it's my life. It's not like, it's not just the music, it is a way of life. It all intersperses. It's part of my living, definitely.
Now, from our programme, we're interested in things which are scarce, and I gather you released a very rare 12-inch vinyl record. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, mate. And
I always say mine were the rarest because nobody bought them, but I mean, tell me about yours.
Right. Well, this is a good one because at the time I hadn't thought about record collectors or anything like that, but what we did was we knew it was probably doubtless we would never get a record deal in Britain playing what we were playing at that particular time, so we borrowed the money to make a vinyl album called The Alleged Album, which was our first release, and we didn't have enough money to make a proper cover, so we got the cardboard sleeves and we stuck stickers on them. Right. With the details of, you know, what the tracks were and what the times were and everything. But the odd sticker we stuck on Squint, Now, you're holding in your hand there, Mike, the second issue, which was printed.
Not the rare issue.
Not the rare issue,
dear me.
which is so rare. In fact, seeing that I'm on the Record Collectors programme, I'll send you down a squinty sticker version.
A squinty?
A squinty sticker version.
How can I be... Can I be sure it's an original squinty?
Oh, it's an original squinty, don't worry. You can have the fingerprints DNA'd.
Let's actually go to the alleged album, and let's pick a track off it. I shall feel the title, I'd Rather Go Blind, and here it is. You may be aware of the Etta James version of that, but that's from the alleged album from our special guest tonight, which is George, Big George, who everyone is now talking about. Remember, you've heard Big George on the Record Collectors. If you happen to have the alleged album with the white cover and the stick-on label, I gather that one changed hands at £100 in London recently. After your tour of Britain and Europe, you're off to Canada again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Are you looking forward to that?
Absolutely. It was an incredible experience going the first time because we did the Montreal Blues Festival. Everybody, well, almost everybody who is anybody in the blues world was there. It was like Buddy Guy, Bo Diddley, Larry Davis, Mick Taylor, and me. Right, and I thought, this can't be. I mean, it was my first major break, and it just happened because two Canadian promoters were here on holiday, and they just happened to walk into the pub I was playing in. You know, like these fairy tale things don't happen anymore.
That's
I mean,
right.
you don't get discovered playing a pub. That's what happened. So we do a tour. We're doing like 2,000 seaters, and then the final date is again the Montreal Blues Festival.
And of course, you've toured England, south of the border, as it were. How have you enjoyed coming to England?
Oh, I've loved every minute of it, and I mean the incredible thing is, although it is, it's kind of late for us to take England in after Canada, Europe, wherever we've been. It's definitely been worth coming here because I think now that we're roadworthy, like when we hit London, we've been getting some incredible reviews down there. I mean, like stuff I don't believe. Like we got the review album of the month in Real Music, the London magazine, above Springsteen and people like that. You know, I mean, it doesn't make you big-headed, but it kind of makes you wonder. You know, it was beautiful. So I'm glad to be in England and making that kind of impression.
When you and I were just talking before, I mean, you said to me from your heart that you're fairly nomadic, and the real thing you want is to perhaps one day have a home of your own, because you don't even have a home.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely.
Is that your ambition now?
Completely, yeah. Although I love travelling, I mean, it's just been nice to have somewhere that I could really call mine to go home to. So if anybody out there wants to marry me, simply phone Mike on 0898.
Can I just ask you about the Scottish comedians you work with? Billy Connolly and Peter McDougall did.
That's right.
And there's a BBC drama that's going to be screened later this year, isn't there?
That's right, mate.
Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, well, Peter's been a friend of mine for a number of years now, but that was another strange one. It just sort of came out of the blue. I'd always been a fan of Peter's stuff. He's done a number of dramas for the BBC, that notably Just a Boys Game, which was screened about a month ago, starring Frankie Miller. And I'd always loved it when I was a kid and everything. And I thought, well, I'd like to work with this guy someday. And one night he came to see the band, and from there it progressed. Like I got a small part in the movie as a drunken guitar player, typecasting, of course, and to work with Billy Connolly and Maggie Bell and these people was incredible. I mean, I really enjoyed it, and we also have the soundtrack to do for it, so that's been a major break for us. You know, I mean, like when you think, like 2 years ago we were a pub band, and this has all happened like in the space of 2 years, just like that.
Can I say on behalf of us here on the Record Collectors programme, George, it's been a real pleasure having you come in here. And I do hope that I get a copy of this very rare 12-inch vinyl album. Because,
I promise to send you one, Mike. I promise.
Because Big George is the business, and look out, world, he's on his way. God bless you, and success to you.
Thank you very much, mate.